So are there any attribution models that we think are sort of toast by now and should no longer ever be used?
I just don't believe in it generally. Like none of them. I don't believe in any of it anymore. I don't like my like last click is absolutely dead. It should never be like it for anybody outside of the baby stage of an account should never be touched. But even then, Google will, in their own DDA or first and last, it will still credit 50% of the attribution to the brand term. So that just shows me it's the weighting is completely wrong no matter how you look at it. It's so I don't trust any of it, but last click is 100% wrong. First click doesn't work either. So the closest thing we've gotten now is that DDA model that just it is what it is. We can't do much about it anymore. So it's just within a Google Ads account, it's actually not a conversation we have anymore, but we definitely don't touch last click.
I mean, if we're being honest, attribution has always been a little bit of fairy dust and wishes as opposed to really hard data, right? And it's even more so now. I think with less data being available, with privacy and consent mode and all of these different things that are happening, there's less data available for the platforms to work with, right? And so getting more comfortable with the fact that things are modeled, that's something that we're all going to have to really wrap our heads around. I think, heading into 20, if you haven't already, into 2025, because even though attribution, you could argue, was never that precise or great, we as an industry talked about it that way. We sold it that way, right? That we have this really strong attribution. This is why you should do digital versus doing other types of advertising. And I think that's coming unwound a bit here as we move from 2024 into 2025. So I think that talking about the attribution as weighting factor or contributing factor versus some kind of absolute piece of data, I think is also something we're going to change the way that we talk about these things with our clients, with our stakeholders, just because of the nature of how it works now.
And that's a really interesting point because I think there's two dimensions to this. One of them is what do we report to stakeholders and clients? And you're right, it's fairy dust, right? So in that attribution model, is that really the amount of revenue that we produced? Well, no, that's just how we attributed. And there's going to be double counting, there's going to be undercounting. And that's from the reporting perspective. So there you have to be really careful. But then the other dimension of it is that these attribution models, they are using the machine learning systems that also do the bidding. So if you're going to trust your bidding to these systems, it probably makes sense to have a very similarly run system that assigns value and helps decide where the bids should be. So pick the fairy dust that moves you directionally in where you want to go, and then tie those two together, right?